Hello YouTubers. In this video we're going to be working on my son's 2018 Audi A4. This car, my son goes to school and I guess came out one day and found this. So somebody had backed into the car somehow, some way, caused that damage. I did measurements just to make sure nothing's bent on the car. Let me show you. So in case you have one of these, I did a measurement from here, the center, to here, and it is 48 3/4 on both sides. So that tells me the car is not shifted one way or the other. Everything is still straight on the front end. So whatever is going on is right here. So we don't know the extent of the damage other than we have a broken grille. So let's start removing some plastics. So here are the tools you're going to need. You need a screwdriver, a ratchet, or a driver, whatever you need. Some extensions, because you're going to need to reach up into an area pretty far. A magnet, something that can reach up in there and get that bolt out. A pry bar, because there's a push pin that we got to get out. And then I have a magnetized 1/4 inch along with a T25 and a T30. Those should be all the tools. If there's other tools that are necessary, they should be in the video as you watch it. So the first thing we need to do is remove this. And this is in with a screwdriver, like so. And pull up. And that should give us access to this panel. Okay. That panel is off. Let's see, what do we see broken? That's rubbery, so I'm expecting that. Nothing broken that I can tell. So that panel's out of the way. The next thing we want to do is get these 4 T30 screws out. The next thing we're going to want to do on either side, you choose, are 3 T25s, and maybe even that one. We'll just see. They're all 3 T25s. What we're trying to do is pull this panel out of our way so that we can get to a bolt behind the bumper. So right here is a push pin. I've already pulled it down so you can kind of see it, and we need to pull that out. The next thing we need to get is that T30 there, and kind of give you a perspective. It's on the top side of the bumper, right there. I have a long extension with a T30 on the end of it, and it's magnetized so that it won't fall out in there. And here is the screw. And I ended up having to get a magnet to reach up in there and grab it. My thing unscrewed it no problem, but would not come out from the bumper. So, okay, so we're done with this side. Let's do the other side, and then we got bolts to take off underneath. We have the same thing here, 1, 2, 3, and I did take out that one there on the other side. That just allows us to bend this thing back over top of the tire, on top of itself. Next thing we want to do is grab this pin, and let's pull that out. Right there is our screw we need to get out with our T30 and our long extension. Okay, on the bumper, we're going to want to take out these T25s and T30. So the T30, T25, T30, 230, 230, 230, 230, 230, and the 225 at the end. Anyway, it's along the same line through here. Let's get those out. The bolts are out along the bottom. We just need to pull this back. Pull this one back. From here, it should want to come off. Behind here is the parking sensors. You'll want to undo those. Sensor. I'm done. Bumpers out. Not too many bolts. Here are the bolts over T30, 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 and T25s on either end. This here was the bolt we were going for. That was up in the area we needed our long extension. And these were where the plugs were, those push pins. So, what damage do we have? So from what I can tell, I don't see any problems. All right, let me put this back on before I forget. That way I can at least open it while it's in this state. All right, the next thing we're going to do is take the grill off. And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I want to say T25s. Let's see. T25s. Get these bolts out. Next thing we want to grab are these. Let's get this out. These sensors. They push out and in. That can stay on the bumper. No reason to remove any of that. This side as well. Now we want to get to start working on the grill to get it out. We're going to take these T25s out. Let's get those. So the next thing we want to do is get the parking sensor wiring out of our way. Of course, it's going to be difficult one-handed. Anyway, pull all of this back to this side. Now that all our wiring is over here to one side, next thing we'll do is pull that out, and that should lift out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this bottom lower grill. Essentially these pieces here sit behind this. So what we want to do is push and pull. And like I said, you just walk it off into the clips. You just walk it off and it should come right off. Now, the grill. What we came for. Let's stand her up. I've already started this side before I realized I had to take off the bottom part. And so I've already started this side. Essentially this thing clips in here, clips in right here, and then this clip here and this clip here should be all that's hanging me on. So I want to make sure I don't break those. Let me take my time and get a screwdriver and get those out. Okay, grill is out. Like I said, I was snagging on this here. Everything else just kind of, it clips. Just pull the clips, pull it, and it'll unclip. But I didn't want to break that. So I ended up mangling that. Because I'm replacing this anyway, I don't care. The bumper I'm not, so I want that to stay as intact as possible. So let's go find us a replacement part now that we have a good part number to go by. We should be able to find this thing fairly easily. Okay, it's the next day here. After I finished up yesterday, I was able to find another grill on Facebook Marketplace from an Audi A4 B9, which is what this one is. This one has a Quattro tag in it. Ours is a non-Quattro. This is an Ultra, which is an Ultra tag on the back, and it stands for Ultra Efficiency, for what that's worth. One thing to note about these grills that I noticed when doing my research and trying to find one, I noticed these parking sensors don't exist on all of them. So be careful and be mindful that if yours has the parking sensors on it like this one does, when I was researching these things, some of them didn't have places for it. So I certainly didn't want to cut it out and make new holes. This one is ready to go. The person who took this out left the mounting brackets, so everything is ready. Beautiful. So we're going to take the parts off of this one next, put it onto this one, the parking sensors, and then we're going to start putting this all back together. One thing to note too, I didn't know how long this would be before I find a grill, so I bagged and tagged everything. I highly recommend, unless you already got your spare parts and you're ready to just swap them right then and there, bag and tag what bolts go to what. Anyway, let's get to the job. First thing, let's get the parts off of this one. To remove the parking sensor, one thing you want to make sure of, for whatever reason, really, notate the orientation and put them back according to the orientation. That way the cables will want to line up like they're supposed to. In order to get these out, they're real simple. They clip in, clip, clip, and they pop out. So let's move it to this one over here. So let's put this in. Perfect. Let's grab the other one. Perfect. So that's everything we need off the old one, was just the parking sensors. That can go in the trash. So the next thing we need to do is to put the new grill into the bumper. So I'm gonna move this over there, put it face down, and start the work. So it's wiped off a little bit just to clean up the pieces and parts before I put it back in. Let's get this Audi Quattro emblem off, and it just snaps in. Let me get a pair of pliers, and we're gonna pull that Quattro tag removed. All right, so let's just go back and look at it again. Everything looks normal. Sensors lined up good. Okay, so we're gonna start by putting this back in here. And remember, these here were very sensitive. We want to make sure that they go in right here, and the rest is going to line up where it's supposed to be. It should clip right in. So what I'm doing is starting this here. It's just going to kind of get this into its proper place, getting it to hold, because the bumper is very flexible. So we want to get these, we're going to do these next. That's going to bring the bumper up. So the side bolts are pretty good. They're in there. They're not all the way tight, but we're going to finish it off by adding the bottom piece. And then your 3 remaining bolts, 1, 2, 3. Should mount up nice and neat. Sorry, it's 100 degrees out here, so you have to bear with me with the fan. I need it. One thing to note here, you want to make sure that around the perimeter there's a groove, there are catches for it. You need to go behind, there's a place for it. Make sure it gets caught in there, not on the outside. Okay, I've already plugged back up the harness. The side was already in, that side was already in. If you recall, everything swung back that way. I've already plugged in the sensors. This is the only thing I've done, sensors. So now, just need to connect up our cable management. Don't know where those two go yet. Come back to it. This goes here. This went here. This goes here. 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 That goes there. This goes here. The question is these two on either end. So the next piece that goes in is this panel here, and it just slides in with these guides here, and it clips in. Next thing we're gonna do is bolt it up, but we're not ready for that. So back to this wiring. My answer presented itself. These go right here and right here. That's where the wiring went. Anyway, let me get those on both sides, and then we will screw this bumper together. Wiring in, wiring in. Now we got our 4 T25s that go here. So I recorded putting the bumper back on the car, but there's a lot of frustration, so I deleted it. I'm gonna walk you through what I ended up having to do. Because it's finagly, it wants to jiggle around and pivot all over the place. So first thing I did was set it here, here and here. And I had to pick up this because it wants to twist down. Picking it up and bringing it level with this. Behind here is a dowel pin. It wants to, there's a place in the bumper that can slide into, locking it in here. And the screw's also going to go here, one that we removed from way up in there. And the rest just clips in. The bottom I haven't even looked at. I would imagine it's going to be fine. Same thing over here, there's a dowel pin, and right now it's a little loose, a little separated, but the dowel pin, or the screw, when it goes in, will draw it in and bring it in where it needs to be. And the rest just kind of pushes into place. It's a very fiddly process, but it goes on. Yeah, set it on the top two things first, and then push it underneath. It'll bring it into here. I'm saying the same thing again, just so you're comfortable that it's not that hard, it's just fiddly. That's all. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the bolt behind here, and that's back there. And I'll get a flashlight and show you. So let's get that bolt in first. So our bolt is in, nice and snug. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the push pin back here. That'll keep this here lined up nice and tight. So I've gone ahead and put in the rest of these bolts, the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I've done it for both sides, lined it all up. Everything looks fantastic, actually. So, yeah, looking good. Next thing is the underneath bolts. So, if you recall, underneath bolts right here. There were 2, mostly T30s and 2 T25s that went on the outer edge. So the rest are T30s. So let's get those in the car. The outer edge back here, T30s, and T25 over there. So Let's get those
The next round of bolts are these 4 that went on top of the grill. Let's tighten those
Next
up.
was this panel here, and it just clips in. It can only line up in one area. It wants to be in their pins. And you'll just push them down in there. And the last thing is our hood latch. Just undo the clip, push it on, and that's it. Okay, the YouTubers, the car is back together. Everything lined up, just as we expect. Even across the board, right down the line. Everything is perfect. So that's what it takes to put this car back together, or take the bumper and grill apart quite a bit, but you know, it's just nuts and bolts and one thing at a time until you get it done and put it back together. So YouTubers, if you like the video,